What is up, denizens of Gillinor? Today we get to talk about something near and dear to my heart. Something extremely boring, something awful, something cringe, and it involves math, so it's all the more fun. Alright, let's see here. We need to first... Oh yeah, here we go. Now you can see my sick Linux rice, by the way. You like that? I know you do. It's nerdy. So today I thought I would talk about which Zenytes to go for first, right? Help, step bro, I'm stuck in Vim. I can't get out. I know. It'll be okay. So anyways, what is all of these numbers? What have you done, you Skitzo Spurg? Well, I'm here to tell you all about what I have done today on this glorious day. It's actually one of the first days where it's at least had a little bit of sun. It was raining earlier, but now the April showers are bringing Mayflowers, and I am excited about the prospect of that. Can't wait, but it still rained like the entire week. So let's get into this. Which Zenyte should you pick first? So for this test, I set all of the stats in the DPS calculator to level 92. You can redo it if you want personally with your own setup or your own stats, but for me I figured I was going to calculate the average value you're going to get from a Zenyte upgrade over the course of 99 Slayer, so from around 3 million XP all the way up to the cap. Woo, 99, so around 10 million EXP, or how, and you know, we know that 1 damage is 1 Slayer EXP, usually for most monsters, like superiors and such, miff the equation, but I'm not going to calculate around all that, that's too much effort. And so I assumed all stats to be 92, potted with supers, ranging potion, and on task for everything. And the only monster I tested against would be Abyssal Demons. And I tested what I thought would be, you know, regular setups for an Iron Man. So what you would expect given any particular setup. So the first setup is a Torment versus Fury with full Prosy and a Whip. I figured this is pretty much what most people are going to do, AFK, Melee Slayer, and these are with 92 strength, attack, defense, prayer, everything, 92 mage, 92 range, all of these. So just to make that clear, and it's an Abyssal Demon from the Catacombs. I'm not sure if the ones in the Slayer Tower have different stats. I don't believe they do, but they might. I have to go and look it up, because I have not researched it too deeply, but, you know, I would probably kill them in the Catacombs almost always, just because of, you know, free Skitzos and all of that. But to each their own. Anyways, so with a Fury, you're going to average with base 92s, 6.4 yada yada DPS, and this many seconds for 10 million damage done. So there are some errors with this. For instance, if you hit the mob in one setup, for instance with the Torture setup, and you kill it, then you know you're wasting an extra 4 game ticks, 2.4 seconds to swing again with the Frostlights or with the Fury setup, and that isn't really calculated. It's just this is a test just assuming there's like 10 million HP and it extends on into infinity. So in real time, these numbers will be a little bit further apart. This is slightly slanted towards the Fury, so you know, even if we doubled the amount of time and added an extra 3 hours of saved ticks, which I don't think would happen, it would still only amount to a 3-hour difference. So you know, we're looking at this many seconds for 10 million damage, and then the total hours for 10 million Slayer XP is 430. Using a Fury and Tormented, and going from the Fury to the Torture. I don't know why I said Torment, this is a Torture. Oh no. Tort. We'll just do a Tort. Torment would be the bracelet, in case you're wondering. I'm not sure why. That was a little bit of a spurg out, but it's fine. So you're looking at around 3 hours time saved in total from going to like 80-ish or 3 million Slayer XP to 99. That is not very good, I'm gonna be honest. That is questionable. The Fury is actually very strong against the Torture. So yeah, at least these numbers surprised me because I thought the max hits and etc. would be different. If you're praying like Piety, this assumes you're just praying protection for melee. If you're praying Piety, if you've got better gear, if you're a main account, these numbers will change a lot. But for like just a poor poverty-stricken Iron meme going for his 99 Slayer grind, Torture really isn't that good, to be honest. So this one I'm definitely gonna say go last. Unless you have a lot better gear than I have access to, or I probably will have access to before 99 Slayer, before max basically. and out. So that was the worst one in my opinion. But gotta keep making the glass. Efficiency, oh my god. Missing ticks, whatever, who cares. And then the second setup is full crystal with a Bofa. Just standard thing, blessing and all of that. And again, we're hitting Abyssal Demons. And the DPS is actually much nicer on the Bofa setup. And the Torture makes a much bigger difference. You can already see, like, that's almost 2 full DPS higher. Or I mean 0.2 DPS higher than just the Fury setup. And that's because range strength is so rare, right? So this one takes an entire almost 11 hours off of the clear. So Anguish definitely looks much, much stronger, like 3 times the value of a Fury, give or take, as far as the bang for your Zenyte buck and total DPS or time saved. And that makes sense because the Bofa is just much stronger than the Whip in general. So, you know, you can scale this to whatever your gear, like, and you could redo this calculation for a Fang at specific monsters like an Abyssal Demon, and it probably would be better or, you know, different at least. So this is just assuming, you know, very standard gear. If I have, you know, if I get spooned a Fang, I'll have to redo the calculation and rethink my Zenytes, but hopefully by the point I'm getting a Fang, I already have all of my Zenytes in order. But yeah, Bofa. Also, I don't know if I want to be AFKing Sand Crabs for ranged DXP anymore. I might be just rocking full crystal and killing some Abyssal Demons, like 7 DPS with my Anguish. Yeah, so that looks pretty good. I'll go into my personal conclusions and what I plan to do later on. And then setup number 3 is Prayer Burst gear, Tormented versus Barrows. And again, we're bursting Abyssal Demons in here. I suspected on average your every single Ice Barrage, and that's the spell that I selected, Ice Barrage, is going to be hitting 5 targets. So if you're better at gathering them or better at using it, you might have different results. But, you know, the average DPS when you're hitting 5 targets with an Ice Barrage, there's no magic damage assumed except for the Ancient Staff. And does the Ancient Staff even have damage? I don't even know, but it can autocast. So I'm going to be using an Ancient Staff and maybe the upgrade from, what's the new boss's name? Whatever the new boss is, the Grumbler, or whatever his name is. I don't even remember what his name is, but so if you can get the icon from the new boss, this will change it. I just assumed the regular one because I don't know if I'm going to farm him. He looks really good, and especially once I have my full Bofa, that's probably going to be quite a nice place to farm. But there's so much stuff that I have to do that'll increase the power of my account more. I don't see myself doing the icon grind anytime soon. But depending on how good Desert Treasure rewards are, I might change that and revert it, because now that they've said they're probably scrapping the whole spellbook for that rewards, Corrupted Gauntlet is also back on the table, so I might be getting into PVM a little sooner than I anticipated, which, might stress my time out a little bit, but I'll be fine. I still have a bunch of 99s I want to get to as well, but so, again, and when you're assuming that you're bursting at least 5 Demonic Gorilla Abyssal Demons, bursting 5 Abyssal Demons, this only really saves 3 hours, but the actual DPS increase is kind of huge at the same time, so, you know, it's about 0.2 DPS, so it's not as good, but I would definitely make this before I make the Torture. And then, me personally, given that the fact that the best option is one that reduces around 10 hours of a 10 million EXP grind in Slayer, you know, well, it would be a lot of ranged EXP, but, you know, this is like 40 million ranged EXP, so no one's actually going to do this, but let's, you know, pretend that you did. This is going to give you the most value just as far as raw damage goes in a standard Iron Meme setup. So, personally for me, because none of these are all that important, I would much rather have the prayer, defenses, and the recoil damage from my Zulrah grind of the suffering. So I'm definitely, after looking at the math, making the suffering first, and then I will be making the anguish second, tormented third, and then torture last, just because torture seems kind of really weak. But yeah. And obviously if I get an ornament kit or some sort of swag, that'll change, because, you know, 3 hours, who cares? Swag is forever, right? But yeah, so that's where I'm feeling, or I'm heading, at least with what I'm thinking of or what I'm looking for. And again, you can redo this math, but this is the way I would approach looking at a lot of things. I usually try and keep this stuff off the sidelines and just tell you what I'm doing and more so why and general overview. But for the Zenyte question, I haven't seen anyone else like break it down completely. I've seen some people talk about, you know, their thoughts and feelings on it, but I've never seen anyone actually go through and full on discuss it, at least to that extent. And so, you know, that's at least my specific situation and how you would go about making it yours as well. And yeah, very nerdy, but it is what it is. So I hope you found that interesting, and that's just a short little, you know, series of thoughts about which Zenyte you want to use. And it's raining again. I don't know if you can hear it. Literally, I'm glad I was able to get groceries today before it rained on me. My word. There's going to be some big flowers this year. It's been raining all week. Thank God I'm inside. Dude, if I had to walk to work through this, I'd be a sad boy. Actually, optimal timing. But anyways, you guys have a lovely, lovely Monday. Wages, you know, fight the KG, get on out. Peace. Bye, friends.